After owning the Super Meteor now for nearly 4 months and doing 1,000 miles on it, there are some things that I would change about it. The first is the speedo and tripper navigation setup. The speedo is off to the left and then the tripper navigation to the right. It's off centre and it doesn't look right because the speedo is quite large and the tripper is small in comparison. I would move the speedo into the centre, put the tripper in the centre of the speedo unit, and then rework the speedo so that the miles and everything else is all around the tripper part. It might involve having to make the speedo slightly larger, but it would look a lot cleaner and nicer. I'd also change the tripper so that it could tap into the speed information that you get when you're running Google Maps as a sat-nav, so that it will tell you the speed limit of the road you're on. You're using it because you don't know where you're going or whatever, and sometimes it's just nice to know what the speed limit is because you don't always see signs or there aren't signs. Another thing I would change is this many different silvers, especially at the front of the bike. There's too many different types of silver going on. You've got chrome parts on the bike. If you're going to go for that, make it like the classic. Make the switchgear chrome and the handlebar clamps chrome. It just looks ridiculous that there's a slightly different silver for the switchgears than there is for the handlebar, which is more like a powder coating. And then you've still got bits of chrome down by the engine, but then you've got a kind of painted silver engine and a matte finish. It's just a bit too much going on the bike. It needs to be more classical and clean and one type of theme going on. Another aesthetic change I would make is, when I had the Shotgun 650 on loan, the bottom of the engine had a nice glossy black case. On the Super Meteor it's a matte black bordering on near grey, I would say, and with the rest of the bike in this colour scheme being glossy black, I think it would look nice to have that glossy black case. Now I like the logo, the big R, so I wouldn't change that. I would just have the case glossy black. And I know the sump guard I put on is matte black. I did think of spraying that glossy black, but maybe when I do an oil change in future and take it off, I might consider spraying it black gloss, but you can't really see it under there, so it's covered in mud half the time anyway. Talking of mud, that's another thing I'd change. The front mud guard, I'd make it a bit longer. As you're riding along, you'll get covered on your legs on a bad day. And also you still get mud and gunk into the oil filter area, so yeah, that's another thing I would change, is just make that front mud guard a bit longer. I know you can get aftermarket add-ons, but it's never going to look as good. Talking of aftermarket add-ons, in the panniers there's a nice usable space in the side of them, but there's nothing to stop bits falling out, so I'm going to get an aftermarket stick-on like little netting there that can go across and stop items falling out, and it would make it a lot better and more usable. I could take some of the smaller items out of the bottom of the panniers and put them out the way, such as my lock or keys, etc. Another change I would make is to the exhaust. It's not very loud. I'm not talking like you need to hear yourself coming from miles away. It would just be nice when you're riding along to hear your exhaust sound a bit more. Now, when you start up the Super Meteor, it is loud for a few seconds and then it gets quieter. So it obviously can be louder, those exhausts. I know people will say, well, there's many aftermarket designs, but they always have branding all over them and they never look quite as good as a stock part. I mean, I'm not a racing team. I don't want sponsorship all over my bike and be a riding advertising board. That's just my personal preference. Yeah, so I would find a way to get the exhaust to be a bit louder out the factory, but I understand why with these modern regulations they limit the sound. Another change that I would make is the USB socket is in a silly place. I mean, it's in a casing on the side and there's not much room in there for a cable and a phone. Most people in the modern day would want their phone out on the handlebars. Also, accessories like my clip-on heated grips would work a lot better. So no, there's aftermarket options like from Hitchcock's Motorcycles where they do one which plugs into the accessory socket in the front headlight and then connects to the back of the tripper unit. Or there's one for the Meteor which hangs under the left hand side of the handlebars. But I would like to have seen this as a stock option from Royal Enfield, a lot more usable in this modern age. That's where the Keyway V-Cruise was quite good, because it had an external one in a good location where a short cable could run it to the handlebars, and it was much more convenient. There is a change that I would make to the grips as well. I like the Royal Enfield branding and logo type design on them and the way, the shape of them, but they're just a bit too thin and hard for my liking. When I had the Ultimate add-ons clip-on removable heated grips, I like the more chunkier feel for my hands. In the future I want to upgrade to permanent heated grips, but it's I don't really like the branding of Oxford or something else being shown. It's a shame to lose the design and styling of the Royal Enfield, so it's a shame Royal Enfield don't do a set of heated grips for their bikes, but is what it is. If I have to go after market, it's a small sacrifice I suppose to be comfortable and warm. I just would need one which is a bit more chunky and a bit more padded for my hands. But 1,000 miles, 4 months of ownership, I'm very happy with the bike. It's a lovely bike to ride, a lot of fun, but also very comfortable and practical. I could take it on a long tour. I could equally just have a few moments of fun blasting around some country lanes. It is really rather versatile, and I'm glad that I went for it in the end rather than shotgun. After riding the shotgun, it's not a bad bike, it's just not for me and my frame. I'm also glad that I had the Keyway V-Cruise to confirm my love of biking after all these years, and it was a great 125 to learn on. My original plan was to have that for a couple of years, but I liked biking so much I decided to pretty much instantly pursue my full license. So yes, I lost a lot of money on it, couple of grand after trading I'd lost, but do I regret buying it? No. If I had to do it again, no. Maybe I would just go straight on to a learning thing for a full bike license at my age. It was a nice looking bike though, a bit too small for me though. So yeah, upgrading to the Super Meteor has been great. It's a bike I can see myself keeping for very many years, and I'm already planning on where to go in the future, so stay tuned for that. I hope to get it abroad some point and also explore a bit more of the United Kingdom. And that's pretty much it for changes. There's nothing performance wise I'd change. I know a lot of people say the horsepower's not enough. Like I say, there are aftermarket options you can do to tune your bike up, and mine are all aesthetic and visual. They are personal preferences for me and my taste. They're not for everyone. So let me know what you would change about the bike. Maybe you would think change something about the design or performance. The great thing about this Royal Enfield 650 platform is, as I said in another video, there's so many models now with parts that will be interchangeable. Maybe I can get the chrome off of a classic 650 for the gear switching, or the glossy black engine case, and maybe over time I will start customizing it a bit more. But for now, those are some things that I wish that were different straight from the factory. As I said, let me know what you think. As always, thanks for watching, stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you next time.